Big Podcast.
Quick note before we get started, CBS Radio. It's been going on for almost 100 years. They have announced that they will shut down CBS News Radio. That's going to happen here in the next few months. A century of broadcasting coming to an end. And here's the reason. They say challenging economic realities, also a shift in strategy. That's what you've got to do in challenging economic times. But it's beyond that. Media is changing. That's the point of this podcast. I'll be diving into that. Here's the deal with CBS, though. Imagine this. 700 stations currently carry CBS News Radio. In a couple months, 0. None of them. Every role across the team, done, eliminated. Where do we go from here? I don't know. But I will say this. Working for a traditional news outlet, newspaper, radio, television, there are journalistic standards that those people play by that the people who are doing new media, social media, they do not. It's something I'm going to get into on this episode. This is Big Podcast Playbook. If you want to grow your podcast, you want to build your audience, you are in the right place. My name is David Hooper. You can find me at bigpodcast.com. I've done a lot of independent stuff. I've worked for networks. I've worked for public radio. I've done independent radio. I've done podcasting. If you want the full bio, go to bigpodcast.com. It is there. On this episode, I'm talking about where things are going. And they're going in a new media and social media way. New media and social media, a completely different ballgame than traditional media. I've got a great video. It is at extra.bigpodcast.com. Some YouTubers that went on Anderson Cooper, and it is wild. It shows the flaws of what these guys are doing on YouTube. It does not work on traditional media. Two totally different audiences, two totally different standards, and a different level of skill, in my opinion. With that said, social media guys have skill. New media guys have skill. I'm going to be diving deep into some of those things that you can learn from new media and social media, specifically from the Manosphere. If you're a guy like me, you have probably seen these videos. Maybe ladies are getting pitched this stuff too. I don't know if it's the algorithm, and that's a whole nother story. These guys claim to be against the 9-to-5, and there's a system working against you, and yet all they do is they play to the algorithm, streaming multiple hours a day. Seems like a job to me. Different names, I suppose. Not a traditional name, but can you imagine that? Everybody that I know that has tried to do this eventually burns out. I think some people are made for it more than others, but a lot of guys, they underestimate the power of the algorithm. And the power of the algorithm is this. You could be doing great one day. You're making all sorts of money. Then the next day, it is done. The reason that happens is because these guys, and I'm going to say guys because we're talking about the Manosphere, they're not doing a couple of things. One, they're not building an audience that's going to come to them. And the second thing is they can't go to their audience because they don't have something like an email list, something that you're hopefully doing, an RSS feed, something that if you've got a traditional podcast, you are definitely doing. So let's dive into the Manosphere. I've got a second video for you to watch. It is at extra.bigpodcast.com. Nowhere is the difference between new and social media and traditional media clearer than in the first 8 seconds of this video. This is a Netflix documentary about the Manosphere, and it shows one of the guys. I don't know what his name is. It doesn't matter. These guys are here today, gone tomorrow. You could remove one and boop, plop one in the open slot, and it wouldn't make a difference. It's like the host on Fox News. What happened to Bill O'Reilly? What happened to Tucker Carlson? It doesn't matter. Who cares? They got the new guy in there, and whatever new guy is in there, because they've got the audience in the living rooms across America that turn on to Fox News and don't think about what they're watching. They're not following people. They're going to watch whatever you put in front of them. The Manosphere, thanks to the algorithm, is the same way. This guy, doesn't matter what his name is, because there'll be a different guy in there next week and a different one the week after that. He's doing this traditional media documentary, and he doesn't have any idea how it works. He's playing to the camera. And the guys will correct him. What are you doing? This is a documentary. You talk to me. The cameras aren't even there. He's not even seen documentaries. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Sometimes you'll see something online like a person maybe at McDonald's who doesn't know how to make change. Arguably, because we can still pay in cash, being able to make change is a skill that would be helpful. However, the majority of people now paying by card, paying by some kind of automated system, There is no change. You pay an exact change every single time. So I get why that skill wouldn't be what it used to be. We can't fault people that are coming up now for not knowing old school skills. Do you know how to change the oil in your car? Most people do not. Can you name me a phone number for each of the 5 people that you call most often? A lot of people can't, because we don't dial phone numbers now. We tell Siri, call this person, or we press a button that does the same thing. We do not dial numbers. We go to a directory, or we put in a request via voice, and the dialing is done for us. So let's dive into this. Lessons from the Manosphere. These are some things you might want to think about incorporating into your podcast. But a quick note, and let's call this a disclaimer. You don't have to agree with the Manosphere ideology to learn from the execution that these guys have. You can pick the elements that work for you. You can leave the things you don't. And the philosophy behind this, the actual content, that is somewhat irrelevant for this discussion. I will get into that a little more at the very end of this episode. Let's look at number 1. These guys are going after low-hanging emotional fruit. Manosphere content, it does not try to persuade people to feel something new. It finds a raw emotion, something that's already present in people, and it turns up the volume. It pokes it. Frustration with dating, feeling invisible or disrespected, fear of falling behind socially or financially. These things that I'm talking about with media, the media landscape changing, a lot of people feel that way. It's not just us, because everything is changing. The world is not what it was when you press play on this episode. The world is changing. We have to change with it. There's this saying, you want to keep getting what you're getting? Keep doing what you're doing. No, you can't do that because the world's changing. Also, confusion about changing gender norms. Again, the world is changing. When I was in high school, about 1,500 students, one gay dude there, one out gay guy there, one guy who was brave enough to live his reality. We found out later, a good friend of mine, trans woman now. All right, cool. I'm in. You do you. And speaking of changing norms, maybe it was a trans woman then. I don't know. I'm learning. People are learning because the world is changing. I found that people don't expect you to get it perfect, but they do want you to try. However, there are a lot of people, they're too scared to try. They're in their own world. Oh, the world's changing. The world is a scary place. And that's what the guys in the Manosphere are going for. They go after low-hanging emotional fruit. People who are stuck, frustrated, feeling invisible, feeling like they're left behind. Here's a takeaway for your podcast. If your show is not growing, look at your listeners, talk to your listeners. What are they already mad about, scared about, confused about? Jump in there. You don't need to start a new conversation. The conversation is already being had. How can you turn up the volume on it? Second thing about Manosphere content, they speak in absolutes, not possibilities. And what I mean by that, they don't say, well, it's possible that this could be the situation. No, they say, this is the way that it is. Talk about old school. They say, this is why blank. They say, here's the truth about women, or here's the truth about the government, or here's the truth about vaccines, or whatever they're complaining about that day. They will say things like, women always blank. Always. Not 99% of the time, not 98% of the time, not some of the time, not half the time. Always 100%. And they say, men never, which might as well be always, do this. That's not how the world works. The world is gray, but they look at things in black and white. Is it accurate? As somebody who's living in the real world, off the internet, that deals with all sorts of people, I have never seen that. But with that said, there are a lot of things that people have never seen because they're in their own world, they're in their silos, me included. You got to work to get out of your silo, and even then, you're still in the silo, just a bigger one. But there's never an always. So it's not accurate. Is it efficient? Yeah, very efficient. Certainty creates momentum. Nuance slows things. It makes people think. When somebody's lost, scared, not sure about the future, feeling certain, hearing somebody who is certain, that is a very comfortable place to be. Here's your takeaway. You don't need to lie, but it helps for you to sound decisive. Don't say maybe, you can say, here's what's happening. At the beginning of this episode, I said, here's what's happening. CBS News Radio shutting down. That is a fact. People trust you more when you are decisive. Don't lie, but do be decisive. You could come to me, and a lot of people do, David, how do I grow my podcast? I need that one thing. My answer is going to be, it depends. You're going to say, oh, no, it depends. I got to think. This might not work. So what I'm going to say instead is, well, most of the time, this is what works. Most of the time. But I'm not going to say, do this. This always works. That's not truthful. Clarity beats caution in a feed-driven world. If you want people to pay attention to your podcast, be clear, be decisive. But personal note, do it in a kind way. If you don't want to be one of these guys that they replace with something else, and this is the reason that happens, because people that hear something absolute from you, if it doesn't end up working for them, now there's some mental gymnastics they might pull. Oh, it's just because of this and this and this, and then this happened. They'll blame somebody else, all the stuff that I'm talking about. If you can be decisive, but also say things like most of the time, not always, that's going to build trust, and that's how you have a long-term audience. Third thing, the Manosphere, they're optimizing for clippability, not completeness. If you watch this documentary, and I think you should, you'll see that what these guys are doing is streaming multiple hours a day a lot of times. One guy, 7 hours a day. Can you imagine that? Oh, I don't want a job. I don't do a job. Jobs are for suckers. Dude, you got a job. You're playing to the algorithm. You got to show up 7 hours a day. And if you don't, nobody's going to tune into you the next day because somebody's taking your place. That's a job. But they're not looking for 7 hours of content. They're looking for the clips that they can send, go viral, agitate people. Arguments, hot takes, confrontations, bold and repeatable lines. Women always do this. People outside the silo were thinking, these guys are idiots. What are you talking about? Have you guys actually talked to a real woman? You like 12 or 13? But guys in that silo, they look at that. This is why my life sucks. This is why I'm in my mom's basement. This is why I'm broke, divorced, jobless, fat, out of shape, low self-esteem. This is why. Not my fault. It's everybody's fault but mine. There's that absolute. Everybody but me. Never my fault. Long-form recording is just raw material. And this is the takeaway for your podcast. Got a couple options here. If you're doing video content, design your episode by asking this. What are the 30-second moments? What sentence could live on TikTok or Reels without context? What moment would make somebody stop scrolling? I'm an audio-first guy. Content like this is better consumed when you're out doing something, driving, going to the gym. I talked about being in a silo, breaking out of that silo. That's how I live my life. The people that I speak to, that's how you're living your life. You're not sitting in front of a screen all day, watching your phone. Man, women always do this, complaining. You're out living. You don't have time to watch a phone all day. You do have time for a short video clip. I do not do video, not on this podcast. But what I do that relates to this is thinking of a podcast in segments. You'll see this if you listen to a radio show. Here's some homework for you. Go to your local broadcast station. It's better if it's an independent station, if there are any in your area. And a lot of times there aren't. But any radio station will do. Turn it on at the top of the hour and make note exactly what happens. On a broadcast show, at the very top of the hour or as close to it as possible, you are going to hear this.
93.3 WVFJ, Greenville, Atlanta.
The call letters, where the tower is, and where they are broadcasting to. For example, I'm in a station called WRLT from my music business radio show. At the very top of the hour, you'll hear WRLT, Lightning 100, Franklin, Nashville. That means there's a city called Franklin that has the tower. They broadcast to Nashville. It goes from there. You're going to hear weather at certain times. You're going to hear commercials at certain times. You're going to hear different types of songs, jocks breaking in at certain times. It's called a clock. That's basically a segment. Sometimes you're going to hear things that are maybe talk radio oriented, like a Paul Harvey segment, for example. He comes in with the rest of the story. It's the CBS News Radio, the break. Down, 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 down. Here's your news. It depends on the station that you're listening to, the time of day. The best time to do this, morning radio. Morning radio for a long time, and this has just recently changed, consistently had more listeners than morning television. That's changed. Again, the media landscape is changing. That's because people are getting ready for work. We were working 9-to-5 jobs. Culture has changed. All the stuff that I'm talking about changing, the stuff that you're aware of and the stuff that these Manosphere guys are afraid of. But one of the things that has happened is that morning radio, not as popular as it used to be. What has not happened is people are still living lives. If you've got an audio-based show, audio first, Listen to another audio-based format, such as radio, and see how they're doing timing, because they're doing that. I'm working on a show right now, 15 after the hour, we've got a devotional segment. Boom. Every day. People set their clocks by that. They tune in for that. That is how you build an audience. If we miss it, we hear about it. They are waiting. That is what your audience wants. Number 4, they create an us versus them mentality. Manosphere content creators, they do not just inform, they recruit. You're smarter than the average guy. You're here. They're not. You are awake while others are fooled. Those guys are idiots. You're not an idiot. You're smart. They're part of a small group. Everybody else outside that group is a sheep. You see the game. You know how to play it. They are part of the game without even being aware of it. There's always been a them in media. For me, with a podcast on podcasting, the them is going to be new media, social media, the Manosphere. Howard Stern had it, the FCC. Half his content was about the FCC shutting him down. Us versus them. You got traffic and weather, you versus cloudy skies, you versus a traffic jam. There's always been a them. Media, women, elites. Listening to the MAGA guys. Oh, the coastal elites. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Your head guy lives at a golf course and sits on a solid gold toilet. No, that's not elite at all. But you see how this works. You tell people they are the smart ones. You tell people they are included in this group. Podcast takeaway for you. You do not need an enemy at the same level of the Manosphere or MAGA, any of the political guys. But you do need an identity. You need to know who your show is for, and you need to know who it is not for. People don't listen to you for the content. They listen to you because they feel like they belong. Belonging, that is built as much by what you reject as by what you teach. I was talking to a woman. I'm not going to say what religion it was, but not one of the major religions in the United States, not like something Christianity, Judaism, Islam, but a sect of one of these religions. She got shunned. Her mother apologized for something she had done in her past. This was before she joined this group. They didn't think she was apologetic enough. They kicked her out. They also kicked this girl out when she was 9 years old. She said it was traumatic. Can you imagine that? Her friend's parents no longer let her friends play with her. Her mother was shunned, removed from the organization. When something like that happens, not to you, but to somebody within your group, you see it, and then you get even more connected to the group. Oh, I don't want that happening to me. And we see that all the time when it comes to Manosphere content, when it comes to political content. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't upset the organization. They'll kick us out. Then who are we? We're not going to have any friends. We have put everything into this organization. That's how they have control. I'm not saying do that, but do know who your show is for and who it is not for. Number 5, they reward the listener for agreeing. Agreement is framed as virtue. If you agree, you're rational, you're strong, you're honest. For the Manosphere, you're brave enough to face reality. They've got it figured out. You don't have to figure out. Don't think. Here's how to think. Yet the way they frame it, you are a thinker. You're the guy who sees the game. Disagreement, oh, that's weakness. It's ignorance. You're them. You're no longer us. You are them. Let me give you a podcast takeaway. It's a little kinder. Listeners return to your podcast. They will continue to listen to you when they feel understood, when they feel validated, when they feel seen. When you talk to me about putting out a podcast, about having bad audio, about having nobody listen, about growing your audience, about making money, doing the deal, about negotiating a contract with a sponsor, whatever, I get it because I'm in the trenches with you. That's who you want to be for your audience. Make your listeners feel understood, validated, and seen. Once you do that, you've got this connection with an audience, you can challenge them. But first, you have to make them feel respected for being there. Let them know they are in the right place. Number 6, they repeat the same message relentlessly. You absolutely see this in the Manosphere. There's not a whole lot of depth there, just some core messages. The core message, it doesn't really change. What changes, headlines, guests, examples, maybe the tone. But the thesis, that is locked. Here's a takeaway for your podcast. Don't have a podcast that covers a lot of topics. I mean, you can. Oh, I just want something for everybody. Well, growth is going to be slow. Strong podcasts, they're known for one thing. They repeat it until it sticks. Repetition, that is what builds trust. Variety, that confuses people. People want to know what they are getting. Imagine a friend of yours. One day your friend is nice. The other day your friend is a total dick. Which friend is going to show up today? That's confusing, man. And that's not a very good relationship for most people. Podcast listeners feel the same way. Let them know what they are going to get. And that goes back to everything that I've talked about previously, the segments, who you are, how you show up, the enemy, us versus them, or your own version of that. I suggest doing it in a kinder way. Not going after people, but punching up at systems that maybe are difficult to navigate, helping people navigate those systems. Repetition is what builds trust. Let people know what they're getting, then give it to them. Seventh thing, they exploit the forbidden angle. Man, oh man, you see this all the time on television. You have for years. The Manosphere absolutely does it. Let me give you an old school example. There used to be a guy, and you'd see him on late night TV or maybe infomercials, and it would be things like secrets doctors don't want you to know. A lot of conspiracy theory kind of stuff. You hear things about cancer's already been cured, but they got so much money with the treatment, they're just going to let it roll. They say it about fuel efficient cars. They got cars in the 60s. They got loose. The fuel companies are behind it. The us versus them thing, the forbidden angle. Man's for examples, they don't want you to hear this. This is going to get me banned. Man, do you hear that a lot? This is going to get me banned. And it's nothing big. I'm not supposed to say this, even though everybody else is saying it. The take is everywhere, but they make you think they're the only ones with it. If you get that perceived risk, that does increase engagement. I think we all want to believe that there's a secret that's going to unlock what we need in life, that somebody's going to show up and save us. You remember that girl from high school? She used to dream of getting married. Oh, I just can't wait. My life won't have any problems at all. And maybe there's some guys like that. I knew women like that, little girls, back in school. Did it happen? I don't know. I haven't seen it happen. But again, we're in silos, maybe once in a while. We all think we're going to have that thing that happens, a job, a sponsor, a successful podcast. And guys, I've seen this a lot because I've worked in the entertainment industry for 30 years. I've seen people on the come up and I've seen people make it. Some of the most miserable people that I know have made it. I saw a video of Jeff Bezos and his new wife. She's had a little work done. He's had a little work done. And it looked like a facade of a relationship. And there was music behind it. And you see them posing in front of a seamless background, like a red carpet event. The caption was, when you have everything and nothing, all the flashes going off, you're beautiful or trying to be beautiful. You've got the best surgeons in the world making you look a certain way. You've got all the money in the world, the richest people in the world. Yet you've got nothing. I felt sorry for the guy. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know the inside story on that. But it seems shallow, at least from what I want. And that's how people are judging, based on what they are living and what they want. I'll give you a podcast takeaway on this. You don't need fake outrage. You don't need secrets, but you do need stakes. Why does this matter now? What belief does this challenge? I talked a minute ago about challenging your audience. Once you've got a relationship with them, you can challenge them. And one of the ways that you can do that is talking about what people are afraid to say out loud. Safe content doesn't travel far. It doesn't connect. Everybody else is doing it. You do want to do something different. Think about the great relationships that you've got. A best friend, a spouse, significant other, family member. You got a level of safety there. You got a level of trust with those people. And because of that, you can push a little bit harder. You can say these things. And you can do the same thing with your podcast listeners. Speaking of relationships, the eighth thing, parasocial authority. The Manosphere is full of it. If you watch this documentary, you will see these guys in, maybe Miami. I don't know where they are, different places. And people walk up to them, oh man, I can't believe it's you. Young kids usually, probably 14, 15 years old. They're out and about, having fun with their buddies. They see these guys in a nice car or nice clothing. They walk up to them. They want to be them. It's a parasocial relationship, meaning it's one way. and this could be you as a podcaster, people who are hearing your stuff, listening to your stuff, seeing your stuff, reading your stuff, they know you, but you don't know them. And I run into this all the time. All the time. I've got people who think they know me, they do not. They know part of me. And I'm not saying if you come up to me that I'm not going to try to get to know you and try to be cool, but most of the time it is a one-way experience because you are putting yourself out there, putting all sorts of content out into the world. People are consuming it. They're running their filters through it, living their lives through it, so they think they're connected to it. But you have no idea that they exist. It's not a bad thing. It's just the way that it is, but some people do exploit it. The host of the Manosphere, they've got confidence, they've got directness, they've got a coaching tone. I teach boys how to be men. I teach boys how to make man-sized money, whatever they're doing. And people are attracted to that because a lot of times people are scared to make their own decisions. They're in a bad place where they simply can't make their own decisions. They're just trying to get through the day. So somebody coming to make a decision for them, that is nice. That's why Dave Ramsey is so popular. Dave Ramsey says, do this, do this, do this. He also does a lot of the Manosphere stuff. Don't question me. I've been to Dave Ramsey events, a few of them actually. Dave Ramsey's a local guy. I've known a lot of people on his staff over the years, but I've known about Dave Ramsey since the mid-90s. 94 maybe? So we're talking 30 plus years. He's always been this way. He's got it figured out and he's exploited it to become the #1 independently syndicated show in the country. The thing I will give Dave Ramsey is that in a lot of ways, he has been through it. Some of these Manosphere guys, they haven't been through it, but they sound like they've been through it. And that's where it gets confusing. I run into this in the podcasting space too. There's some guys that talk with such authority, telling you how to have a successful podcast, that you would think, oh man, these guys really know what they're doing. They have such authority. What I have found, let's go back to what I said a minute ago about talking in absolutes, is that if you've really done it, you understand that there are no absolutes, but people don't want to hear that. It's confusing. They're exhausted. They're just trying to survive. They're worn out, don't have the decision-making ability that you're asking from them to make these decisions. They don't have the big picture. And that is why these guys can come in and give them the easy answers. But yeah, Dave Ramsey, his whole thing was built on this. This is how to do it. I got it figured out. People have actually analyzed Dave Ramsey and his investment advice. Not so much. Maybe paying debt. Yeah, he's motivating. Pay the small ones up first. Build that momentum. Good on you. I think he's helped a lot of people, but one-trick pony. Like I said, he's in a situation a lot like the Manosphere guys that when you got somebody in a lot of pain, it is pretty easy to sell a remedy for that pain. It is easy to sell easy solutions. I don't want to take anything away from Ramsey. He's done amazingly well. Like I said, the #1 independently syndicated show in the country. He's reaching millions and millions of people each week. The books, everything else he's doing, incredible. But the world is changing for one. We are seeing a new school version of this with the Manosphere. People still want to be told what to do, or they're comfortable being told what to do. I don't know that they necessarily want it, but you can start to find yourself in that situation pretty easily. You start to think, oh, well, my life isn't going so well. Do I really know what's going on? You don't trust yourself, but that comes with experience. And I get it why somebody wouldn't trust themselves if you're young without experience. You went and bought Cheetos on a credit card, didn't pay it off, and next thing you know, it's $500 because of late fees and interest. It happens. And questioning your own judgment, that can happen. But for you as a podcast host, are you looking out for your listeners where you want to help them make their own decisions and be able to survive and be able to have success and be able to be better? Or do you want to keep them attached to you? And I think a lot of these Manosphere guys do. Let me give you some final thoughts. People don't share content because it's balanced. They share it because it makes them feel something and it tells them who they are. That's why you see so much crazy political content online. It's not as much about spreading the word. It is about this is me and this is who I am. Even though on the outside, offline, in the real world, my life isn't like that at all. I'm going to talk about family values, but I've been divorced 5 times. No, we're going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about the 5 divorces. We're going to talk about this American flag and this eagle crying, because that's who I am. People see themselves as they want to be. If you've ever done online dating, you know this. I'm thin, I'm rich, and I don't smoke at all. 20 pounds overweight, broke as a joke, and smokes just one cigarette a day. No, don't smoke at all, but just one. People see themselves as they want to be, not who they are. I want to end this with a personal note, and this is a line worth drawing. This is the part that matters to me. Podcasting itself, it is neutral. People have asked me about my books. What happens when somebody who's a white supremacist or some crazy guy gets your book and uses what you're talking about to grow an audience and build a podcast? That's not on me. I try to balance it out by saying things like I'm going to say right now. You know where I stand. But podcasting itself, that's neutral. RSS feed, neutral. Email, neutral. The same tools that can build confidence, clarity, connection, they can also be used to sell resentment, fear, and shortcuts to status. That is how the Manosphere uses them. I choose not to do that. Could I make more money doing that? Yeah, probably. I'm not going to try it, but it appears that way. There are a lot of people that are looking for easy solutions, and you can offer those easy solutions because podcasting is going to amplify whatever you bring to it. Anything that holds attention can be monetized, regardless of whether it helps people grow or keeps them stuck. Podcasting is neutral. You can use your podcast to make people feel smarter without actually helping them. You can give listeners someone to blame instead of something to work on. You can turn outrage into a business model, or flip that. You can use your podcast to name real frustrations, let people feel heard and seen without feeding nihilism. You can give people language and words for what they're feeling and also a way forward. You can build identity around growth and responsibility and curiosity and self-respect rather than, I blame you for all my problems. I am not my problem. The difference is the intent. It's how you show up. My advice, do not copy the Manosphere, but do stop pretending that emotion and identity and authority do not matter. They do matter. You can be ethical and also compelling. You can be decisive and also honest. You can create belonging without turning someone else into a villain. The villain is you. When I talk about the things that are keeping you from having a great podcast, almost always it comes back to you. Your management of time, your ability to speak your truth. It's not the system holding you down, it's you. Nobody's coming to save you. You are coming to save you. And when you understand that, how empowering is that? Incredibly empowering. You are a role model. You are shaping people. I used to see NFL stars, sports guys. They say, I'm no role model. Your parents are your role models. Yeah, they are. But a lot of people don't have that. In these parasocial relationships, because you're driving the flashy car, you got the big necklace, you're in the big house, they hear you on the radio or on a podcast or on YouTube. Like it or not, people are looking up to you. Is that a responsibility? Yeah, maybe. I don't know the answer for that one. But people are looking at you as a role model. Whether you want to take that on or not, that's up to you. People are looking to you, though. So you can't just be like, no, don't follow me. Yeah, people are following you. Just know it. The very final thought, ask yourself this. If you want to know what kind of podcast you have, ask yourself, what kind of person does my podcast help someone become after listening to 100 episodes? Where will they be after listening to 100 episodes? Who will they be after listening to 100 episodes? Am I giving them the tools on how to get there? If you got that, you're good. Otherwise, you don't care, and you'll see a lot of this in the Manosphere documentary if you watch it. Man, these guys don't care. I don't care. I'm up for me. It's sad. People living on the internet. We are in a big world. Get outside. Touch grass. Before you do, though, go to bigpodcast.com/subscribe. I've got episodes like this helping you grow your podcast audience, get more people to your podcast, make more money with your podcast, help people. All the stuff that I'm talking about on this episode, you will get all of them. bigpodcast.com/subscribe. You want to work with me and other people working as hard as you are, people who see the audio first podcasting is a way to make the world better. We can do that too. It's Big Podcast AMP, A-M-P. It stands for Audio Monetization Program. And this is how to get more information about it. bigpodcast.com/AMP. That's bigpodcast.com/AMP. Thank you for listening. Always a pleasure to spend time with you. And if you've done what I've suggested, go to bigpodcast.com/subscribe. We will do it again on the next episode of Big Podcast Playbook. See you then.